How would you measure up against a robo-counsel? As young legal professionals, we are often anxious and lost during our first client-facing interactions, particularly in high-stakes situations. So why not go through a pilot simulation to strategize, train, iterate, and perfect your negotiation technique? This will also enable your senior partners to provide more precise and targeted mentorship. This is the motivation behind our M&A negotiation simulator. So how does it work? I'd like to first disclaim that this is an alpha prototype. We are currently making updates to the UI UX, as well as improving on a number of fact patterns and tools to assist with the pedagogical training. Furthermore, this platform is focused on negotiation prior to the signing of a letter of intent and term sheet. This means we train the model on the premise of implicit expertise and not on any confidential documents. I'll now walk through a quick demo of how it works. You'll notice that there is the background and context of the negotiation featured at the top. Here we are negotiating an equity sale between a fictional buyer and seller. The buyer is interested in a seller that has a proprietary SaaS solution for small, medium-sized business retailers. The fictional buyer believes this acquisition could help extend its market presence and technological capabilities. Now we, as a lawyer trainee, have been assigned to represent the buyer. We start by entering our name. We then select the practice level as a junior or senior associate or as a partner. Depending on the level selected, the fact patterns will adjust accordingly. So if I selected junior, you'll notice that the main focus will be warranties and representations. If I selected senior, the main focus will then adjust to cybersecurity incident, followed by a description of the new facts that have since arisen. The original fact pattern of the equity sale remains consistent across the junior, senior, and partner level. However, new facts are added to the original fact pattern, depending on the level of difficulty selected. This is because we wanted the complexity of the simulation to mirror the impact to the deal. While senior associates could manage slightly more complicated incidents that arise and have an effect on the deal, partners are immediately involved when situations get nuclear. For the purposes of this demo, I'll walk through the senior level only. Once selected, the user will be informed that the seller disclosed of a breach in their customer data. The user is now recommended a few suggested topics of negotiation. You'll also notice that there is a hint button. A user may click on the button for a hint in the event they get stuck or are struggling with where to start. So if I hit this button, I'll notice that there's a tip about the known and unknown risks here to mitigate. Immediately I think, I should renegotiate our standing representations and warranties, and I better hash out this indemnification. I am now ready to kick off the negotiation, so I'll scroll to the chat and open up with the following statement. In order to proceed, we're going to need to be protected against liability arising from the specific incident. We're going to require a higher standard of protection overall with respect to cybersecurity and privacy. We now wait for the robo-counsel to respond. Once we receive the response, we can click on the audio button if we want to actually hear the robo-counsel.
I understand your concerns about the cybersecurity incident. However, I want to underline that Tachys took immediate action to remedy the situation and has complied with all regulatory requirements. Nevertheless, we acknowledge the potential liabilities that could arise from this incident. Thus, we propose to provide an indemnity against any damages related to this particular incident. Moreover, Tachys is committed to improving its cybersecurity and privacy protections. We are ready to work closely with Shopmaster to establish higher standards in these areas. However, any further protection measures should not disproportionately impact the purchase price or the general indemnity cap. We need to find a balanced solution that protects Shopmaster's interests while not placing an undue burden on the sellers. Let's discuss how we could shape these terms to ensure a fair deal.
So I'll think about whether or not I like this response. I might say indemnification is a productive approach. However, we should still be fully indemnified against any liability arising from this particular incident, where we may be willing to entertain a survival period and could be open to putting a cap on other incidents that arise in the future. Now we once again wait for the RoboCounsel to respond.
Your willingness to negotiate on these matters. We understand your need for full indemnity against any liability arising from the particular disclosed incident. As for future incidents, would a survival period of years with a cap of the purchase price be acceptable? This would provide protection against future liabilities, while also giving techies some predictability in managing potential future risks.
So now once again, I think about the response. I might respond with, I'm glad we're agreed to full indemnification with respect to the known incident. With respect to potential future incidents, we accept 3 years, but the cap of 15% is way too low. And if we want to hear the response, we once again.
I understand your apprehension regarding the proposed cap. Given the gravity of potential future cybersecurity breaches, we are willing to negotiate on this. How about we raise the cap to of the purchase price for any cybersecurity or privacy-related incidents? This demonstrates our client's commitment to the continued integrity and security of the Techies platform, while still maintaining a reasonable limit on their potential liability.
And finally, I might concede and say, fine, this works for me.
Great. I'm glad we could come to an agreement. We will draft the updated terms with the revisions discussed. This includes full indemnity for the known incident and
so voila, once the user has determined that it has reached a strong deal in representation of the buyer, we can conclude the negotiation and save the chat dialogue. This will then be shared as a document to the user's senior partner. If you'd like to know more about how we built this platform, we'd be happy to share more on the specific agentic model that we used and how this is both helpful pedagogically for trainees and the training of the LLM. We're so thrilled we were able to share this early alpha with you all, and we look forward to user feedback as we move to the next phase of development.